Today's topic is on Hindu caste system or Hindu Jati Pratha. Kindly note that this what I'm giving, I'm talking today, is based on whatever limited knowledge I have. I might be not fully correct. So let's start. I don't think so. The Hindu caste system has anything to do with Aryan invasion, or Hindu sociology has anything to do with Aryan invasion or Aryan Dravidian divide. Basically, I believe that Hindu caste system or Hindu Jati Pratha, before initially it was Varna system, and Varna system exists today also everywhere in the world. The intellectual class, the power class, the service class, the mercantile class, and Varna system was very much flexible. It was not rigid. To my knowledge, if I am not mistaken, in the way it is mentioned that within one family the four Varnas also used to coexist. So it was not something which was rigid. This Varna system exists in America also today. There is a it was not hereditary as such. Varna system exists everywhere. The intellectual class, the administrative or the power class, or the mercantile class, or the service class. Now we have to understand that in Hinduism, in traditional way, there is no hard and fast rule of any one marriage system. Uh, we Hindus don't say that this is right, this is wrong. What we say is this is it, this is how it is, and the effect will be this. If you have milk, you will have calmness of mind. If you have alcohol, you will have intoxication. So it won't say that it is alcohol is good or bad or milk is good or bad. They will just mention that if you drink milk, you will feel calm in the mind. If you drink alcohol, you will have intoxication. So similarly, there was various marriage system based on observation they had, including Gandharva Vivaha, where people don't, where couples take blessings of the nature with no witness. Gandharva Vivaha. Then there is a marriage where you elope, and then there is a marriage where uh, parents choose the bride and groom. Now, this was considered as something as in when society became more stable, that where the parents choose the bride and groom, it is the most suitable way of marriage. Now, what happened is due to that, people would choose, parents would choose bride and groom. So, whom will they choose? They would choose somebody from their those who they know, and whom would they choose? They would choose somebody who is uh, from the same profession. But before that, I want to tell you, as Varna was there previously four, and then later on inventions started coming by. New inventions started growing, and due to that, new professions were also started growing. Then there was a concept of now due to this marriage, what happened is you would know somebody whom within your profession only, so you started marrying within your same profession. Then the concept of collective mind or kul devta also started coming in. Then exogamy within endogamy, exogamy within endogamy started happening, and then it started becoming rigid. So this is how the from Varna it moved towards the Jati Pratha. Now we have to understand that here also till then I don't think so there was any hegemony. There was struggle. There was struggle between the various castes, but there was no hegemony as such. There was no hegemony of any particular caste. There was Jainism grew because of the struggle between the Brahmins and the Kshatriyas. Might be the Brahmins thought that they have control over the Vedas, and they have control of the Vedas. So Might be they did not allow others to have access to the Vedas. So Kshatriyas thought that okay, if you don't have access, knowledge based Veda, we don't have access to the knowledge based Vedas. We start our own knowledge base, and then Jainism started coming into existence. But I also wanted to tell you one thing, that in this struggle, Jainism. There was one more thing I wanted to tell you, that uh, uh, this was this struggle was there, but there was no hegemony. But then what happened? Buddhism got before that there was no state religion. There was a Hindu culture, but there was no state religion as such. Then Buddhism during Ashoka, what happened is Buddhism got the status of a state religion. So now when Buddhism got a status of a state religion, now what happened? First time a community got hegemony. Now later on when Adi Shankaracharya and the Brahmins overwhelmed Buddhism, then what happened? The hegemony shifted towards the Brahmins. So it was two can you can say that Ashoka was the first person in India, though he might be great, but he was the first person in India who brought a hegemony to a particular community. Now Kul Devta was also there as a concept. Till that Jati Pratha was not established. It was getting established and rigid. But till then there was no concept of might be a very weird concept of Chandala was there. Dalit was not in Varna system. There was no concept of the fifth caste or the Dalit. But later on, as people started, there was struggle. People started giving people started outcasting people on based on some rules. So that time concept of Chandala started growing, or whatever we call as the concept of Dalit started coming into picture. But but we are then one more thing I wanted to say. In our Hindu caste system, there was no such thing that how it was based is what I have, you will not have. So then invaders came, and when invaders came, when they ruled over India, they started the jizya tax collection system. And now in this jizya tax collection system, before that it was a horizontal caste system. Now I will tax you, you will tax somebody else, he will tax somebody else. So it became vertical. And now who would they prefer? Like in their concept, what happened is in the invaders, they had this number one concept. I am number one, number two, number three. That type of concept they have. And today also you can see in this domination of Judeo-Christian or Abrahamic domination in the world, you will see that there is competition and conflict where there is number games is going on. So even when the invaders came, we never had this number game as such. Uh, but when the invaders came, they brought the system of number games. So they saw thought that those who are having power, they are more superior, or those who have knowledge, so they have more superior. So people who are Rajputs or Brahmins, they got started preferring. Same with the British also. Now they also preferred those who are powerful uh, to uh, give preference. Now, by the time the concept of outcast or Dalit had come, now what I personally believe, this Dalit concept has nothing to do with oppression. This Dalit concept exists, though Ambedkar has accepted Buddhism, but this concept of Dalit exists even in Sri Lanka, even in Japan. Japan, there is a Dalit community. You can find out. It starts with the word B, letter B. Burakami is something like that. So it's a Dalit community. Now it's a Japanese is a Shinto and Buddhism religion country, but still they have a Dalit community. So Ambedkar's conversion to Buddhism has not does not justify that Buddhism did not have Dalit concept. Japan had, Sri Lanka had, so these people also had. So whatever it is, Dalit started coming. Now what is Dalit? Dalit is nothing but it is more came into it is a inhuman concept, but it came into existence because of social rules and not racial tendency. Like for example, I will give you an example of Sant Dhyaneshwar. Now, Sant Dhyaneshwar, he was from a Brahmin family. You can read it in Wikipedia. Now, what happened is his father was also Brahmin, but what happened? Well, yes, in Hinduism there is four ashrams. Now there is a sequence. One is first is the Brahmacharya ashram, then Grihastha ashram, then Sannyas ashram, then Vanaprastha ashram. So these are the ashrams. It is basically Hinduism is not Sanatan Dharma also. It is Varnashram Dharma. Sanatan Dharma means what? Sanatan Dharma actually means what? Sanatan means it's a relation between the Sanatan. It is the eternal relation between God and Jivatma. That even the Muslims are Sanatanis, if you say, because they also believe the eternal relation between God and not exactly Jivatma. They might be saying of human Atma only or human soul, but they also talk about the relation between God and the Jivatmas. So Sanatan is eternal relation between God and the Jiva, obligation for the eternal relation between God and the Jivatma. So this is Sanatan Dharma. So actually, the name of Hindu is a culture, but the religion which we followed, Vedic people, you can call it Vedic religion or Varnashram Dharma. Now Varna is there, but Varna also you can say that everywhere people are following Varnas also. But four ashrams, we others don't follow, but we used to follow. So Varna ashram dharma. So Varna ashram is what? Four ashrams. The one is Brahmacharya ashram, then Grihastha ashram, then Sannyasa ashram, then Vanaprastha ashram. So now let's come back to the same story. Now, how Dalit? Why I will say that Dalit is nothing but it is more to do with social rules and nothing to do with racial tendency. Like for example, Sant Dhyaneshwar's father. Now his father he was a Brahmin. He had married, so he had gone into Grihastha. Then he went to a sannyas ashram. Now what happened is when he went to her sannyas ashram, he had left his family. Now the guru who was Sant Dhyaneshwar's father's guru, he realized that this person is already married. So he told him to go back to the grahast. He can't take sannyas. So he went back to the family. And when he came back to the family, the community communicated, removed, ostracized them, ostracized the whole family, saying that how can you be the sannyasi's son? So, so this is how Dalit concept came. So social rules, like somewhere even the Buddhist might have, since they were following non-vegetarian, they might have made somebody socially outcasted because they were within the kingdom. If somebody was eating non-veg, Jains, there are examples I think so, where some people were outcasted because they were eating non-veg. So this is also possible. So it is not just the responsible. It was just Dalit concept came because of uh, the Hindus only. So, like for example, Jinnah also. Jinnah's great grandfather was a Vaishnava. Now he went into the business of, though he did not get outcasted, he changed his religion. So basically, uh, Jinnah's great grandfather, he was a Vaishnava. Now he joined. He wanted the profession of fisherman. So his community ostracized him. Now, basically, what I'm saying is discrimination has been throughout the world. Now, for example, if you go to US also, there is racial discrimination. Then class discrimination is there. Here it was Dalit was the discrimination was there, but it was comparatively discrimination when then two people are there will be discrimination. But comparatively, it's like what we had. Somewhere it might have sometime it might have become stronger, but in general the discrimination, if you go by Vedic period till here, discrimination was less. Like for example, in America, The blacks got voting rights in 1960s, I think. So after Martin Luther's agitation, for 300 years they were the first democratic country, and they never there was slavery and many things was there. Voting rights were not given to blacks. But when India got majority, when India got freedom, the first law minister was a Dalit, and he wrote the constitution. You might agree with many of the leaders' behavior or not, that is different. But that was a preference. And Jinnah might have imitated them to just like, these, like it's like it's not very, it's very obvious in how these people behave. They go closer to Punjabis just to, for their vested interests when they have no good heart towards the Sikhs. But they will go closer to them just to create problems to the Indian nation. So this is how they are. That is a difference. So Jinnah might have preferred a Dalit, but then we know later on what happened. So whatever, like what I'm saying is, discrimination has been throughout the world, but in India there was period where it was become stronger, might be stronger, very intense than many part of the world. But in as a general, the discrimination level was comparatively low, I feel. Like for example, Sati was there, Johar was there, but it was not existing everywhere. Like for example, in our community, widow remarriage was allowed. We are Hindu bunds. In our community, widow marriage was traditionally allowed. We are Hindus, and I think so. Even Arya Samaj, Dayanand Saraswati, he said that child marriage is not part of Vedas. Widow remarriage is part of Vedas. So we will have to understand how Arya Samaj explains it. So whatever. Like now coming to the Dalit concept. Now personally, I believe. Uh, Personally, I believe, let's say you imagine, let me, like, here I might be wrong or right, because I recently heard some conversation, some debate, not debate, some YouTube, where that person was telling that the difference between Ambedkar's view and of seeing Indian nation and Karl Marx's view of seeing world is it differs in this matter. Karl Marx thought that power or wealth is the deciding factor for any elevation. Wealth or wealth uh, wealth or power is the deciding for any elevation of any community or any people or any group of people. Whereas Ambedkar, giving example of India, stated that religion uh, can be a factor for elevation of. I'm not sure. Just you have to cross check with it if I'm saying what I am saying is correct or not. Elevation of communities can be based on religion. Religion can be playing an important factor. Uh, Ambedkar said. I can put that culture. Culture can be a important factor. I can, instead of religion, I will replace it with culture. Now, culture can be a important factor in elevation of a community or people instead of religion or power or wealth. I feel culture can be a important factor in elevation of a community. Now, when we say of Dalit concept of this community or that community, it's not just the economical status as seen by Karl Marx can be considered. We can talk about their mini culture also. Like Dalits have their own mini culture based on obviously different states. Dalits have their own cultural identity. Uh, the um, the forest dwellers or the Vanvasis, they also have their own cultural identity. Now, this cultural identity has survived in a Hindu or Brahminical India. So, this cultural identity of Dalit or cultural identity of scheduled tribes can survive because it has proved. that it has survived in Brahminical environment, because basically India is a Brahminical environment till now. So in that Brahminical environment, it has survived, and it will survive also. You can understand. For example, we follow, we Hindu bunds, we follow kolas. Now in that kola, there is there is a coordination of the Brahmins, the Dalits, and the Bunds community, or the Pujari community, or the other communities. They coordinate. So whatever. So basically, I feel that the cultural identity of the Dalits or the scheduled tribes is can survive in a Brahminical environment, but the same cultural identity will not survive in a Christian environment or a Muslim environment, or for that matter, communist environment or the Buddhist environment. But it has survived. This cultural identity has survived in a Brahminical environment. Uh, has survived, no? Their totemism or animism has survived in the Brahminical environment, but it might not survive in a Christian environment where there is only Jesus Christ. So their cultural identity will not survive. Where Islam comes, Allah is there. Their cultural identity will not survive. Where communist comes, where Buddhist also comes, teachings of Buddha will come. So only the teachings of Buddha will come. So there also the cultural identity of these Dalits and the scheduled tribes will not survive. But the Brahminicals, due to its diversity, and in as they have stated in the Vedas that let noble thoughts come to us from all direction. It means that we are very accepting. It is not tolerating, we are accepting. So due to this acceptance and tendency of the Brahminical culture, the culture of the cultural identity of Dalit and the cultural identity of scheduled tribes have survived till now and will survive. And as Ambedkar said, religion is can be used for elevation of community. Just as Karl Marx thinks that it is the power or wealth which is the deciding factor. Ambedkar thought that India is an example where religion can play an important factor. I would say cultural identity can also play an important factor. And in that matter, Dalit identity has survived in a Brahminical environment, but it will not survive in a Christian environment or a Muslim environment or a communist environment or a Buddhist environment also. So this is what I wanted to say as such. The uh, s- whole this. I'm not saying that I am fully correct, but whatever little bit I knowledge I have shared with you. Thank you very much.